Good morning and welcome back to the channel, and today we are talking about boundary disputes and why your neighbor's brand new fence might not be as innocent as it looks. Few things sour neighborly relations faster than a fence that suddenly appears a little closer to your patio than you remember. This often starts with good intentions. A neighbor decides to tidy up the garden, replace an old fence, or put in something a bit sturdier. A weekend later, the panels are up. The posts are set in concrete, and only then do you notice that the fence seems to have crept over the line. At first you might brush it off. It is only a few inches after all. But in legal terms, even a small encroachment can amount to trespass. We recently advised a homeowner who came back from holiday to find a new fence cutting across what they had always treated as their flower bed. The neighbor was adamant the fence was on the boundary and had no idea there was a problem. When we looked at the title plan, it turned out the legal boundary did not follow the old fence line everyone had relied on for years. Both sides were shocked, and tempers had already started to fray. One of the biggest sources of confusion is the land registry title plan. People often assume that the red line shows the boundary with absolute precision. In reality, it shows the general boundary, not the exact line on the ground. This means that small discrepancies can exist, especially in older properties where fences and hedges have moved over time. When a neighbor puts up a new fence based on assumption rather than proper checks, that is when disputes arise. Trespass doesn't have to involve anything dramatic, honestly. It can be as simple as, say, placing a fence post on land that doesn't belong to you. From a legal perspective, that's considered an unlawful interference with someone else's land. The tricky bit is actually proving where the true boundary lies. That might mean digging out old deeds, looking at historic plans, maybe even checking aerial photographs, and sometimes you'll need professional surveyors. It's rarely as simple as just pointing to a line on a map. We often see disputes get worse just because of how they're handled right from the beginning. Sometimes just having a calm conversation can sort things out really quickly. In one case, once both neighbors looked at the evidence together, the fence was moved back within a week and, honestly, everyone just carried on as normal. But in another situation, the first conversation happened in the heat of the moment, words were exchanged, and then it all ended up with solicitors on both sides and months of stress. There's also the risk of just doing nothing about it. If a fence has been in the wrong place for many years, it can create long-term problems when you come to sell your property. Buyers and their solicitors will start asking questions, and something that once seemed like a minor issue can suddenly hold up a sale. Sorting it out early, even if it feels a bit awkward, is usually the sensible option. At Blackstone Solicitors, we help clients approach boundary disputes with clarity and proportion. Not every fence is worth a courtroom battle, but protecting your property rights really does matter. Getting early legal advice can help you understand where you stand, what evidence you'll need, and how best to resolve things without turning a neighborly disagreement into a full-blown feud. If you found this video helpful, do give it a like, subscribe for more practical legal insights, and feel free to get in touch if you need advice about a boundary issue.